Peace, folks, and welcome to the culture right here on the Black Star Network. I'm your host, Farajii Muhammad. Thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of the conversation today. Folks, we got a great show for you. First and foremost, let's talk about the latest development in this LA City Council situation as Councilman Kevin De Leon refuses to resign and claims he wants to be a part of the healing process in LA after he made racist remarks on a leaked recording. What? How we are continuing to live in a state of denial. Also, let's talk about HBCUs. Remember that rash of bomb threats that were threatening some of our most historic Black colleges and universities? Well, guess what? The FBI has still made no arrest even after 6 months of investigation. We'll talk about that. Also, ladies, we got something special for you. Let's talk about the power of beauty as we check in with Eva Jane, a makeup artist and entrepreneur, to talk about what Black women are doing to build this billion-dollar industry and how they can get a piece of the pie. We'll have that conversation. So stay with us. All of that and a whole lot more on today's edition of The Culture right here on the Black Star Network. Let's go. Folks, welcome to the culture right here on the Black Star Network. I'm your host, Farajii Muhammad. Thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of the conversation. I'm so excited to be checking in and with you this afternoon as we have these discussions. And we got a lot to talk about, so I want to jump right in. The first conversation is a continuation of the coverage as we've been having and the conversations around what's been happening with the Los Angeles City Council. You know, of course, former Los Angeles City Council President Nury Martinez made some very racist and offensive remarks to a number of groups of people here in the city of Los Angeles. And as a result of that, has decided to resign from her post and to step away from the council because of the anger towards her and her leadership. Now, folks have been calling on other members who were part of that conversation, Gil Cedillo, Ron Herrera, who was a part of the labor movement in the city of Los Angeles, one of the top labor leaders. He has also resigned from his post as part of the Labor Federation in LA. And then we still have Gil Cedillo and who is a councilman, and Councilman Kevin De Leon. Neither one has decided to resign even after a very contentious city council meeting that happened last week, where they tried to move forward in conducting business as usual, but the citizens of Los Angeles said, nope, we're not going to let that happen. And as a result, there was still some outcry, and people are still angry that the remarks were made, but more importantly, that these two councilmen have not decided to resign. And yesterday, take a look at this, folks. This guy, this is what I'm going to start to refer to him. This is Councilman Kevin De Leon. He said he will not resign. Yeah, he refuses to resign. And in an interview that he did with Univision and a local LA television news station, he did 2 interviews. He doubled down. He said, I'm not going to resign because the people in his district need leadership. And then he said, I apologize, and I want to, let me just throw up the quote really quickly. Then we're going to bring my brother Omakongo into this conversation. But let's look at this quote very quickly, folks. Take a look at this quote. Here it is. This is coming out of the LA Times. After remaining silent for more than a week, De Leon gave 2 television interviews during which he repeatedly apologized for his role in the discussion last year where racist and demeaning language was used. De Leon said he intended to stay in office to help his downtown and east side districts, and that his constituents, quote unquote, deserve representation. No, I will not resign because there's a lot of work ahead. Okay. De Leon said in an interview with Noticiero Univision describing the problems of COVID, homelessness, and eventual evictions in the district. In a separate interview in KCAL TV Channel 9, The politician said the city needs to heal from the hurt caused by the racist remarks and that he wants to be a part of that process. You want to be a part of the process to help the city heal, but you don't want to take full responsibility. I'm not talking about no weak ass excuse. I'm talking about taking full responsibility because you're not fit to serve. If you are expressing racist remarks, Kevin DeLeon, then how are we supposed to believe that you have the interest of black people and other people in your districts in mind? How that happen? How does that work? Because downtown LA, DTLA, East Side, even though you have Lincoln Heights and Boyle Heights and other communities in that part, mostly Latino communities, you still got black folks there. You still got other people there. You got Asians there. You got white people. How are we supposed to expect that you have this thinking, sir, and then you want us to believe that you care? You didn't care last year, but you care this year. And we supposed to believe you. And you have the hubris and the arrogant stance of saying you won't resign. But you want to be a part of the healing process. How about you take a hit because we're taking a hit having you in office? Why don't you take a hit by not being in office, being in a position of power and influence? Absolutely mind blown. I want to bring in my brother Omakongo. You've seen him on RMU. He's always doing some great things. He's a scholar, professor, writer, hip hop artist. He's doing a lot of great things. And he is a thought leader, critical thinker, brother who I have great love and respect for. And I want to get his take on this because I want to really talk about in Keenan and Ariel, let's change that lower third to saying living in a state of denial. This is the problem that I'm seeing, Brother Omakongo, in this country right now with politicians. And I feel like this is the fundamental problem.
Yes.
That now we're at a point where we as the constituents have to go to war with our own representatives because they want to live and they want to have a zip code in the state of denial. How do we make sense of this?
Well, one of the ways we make sense of it is profit and power. These guys are very comfortable in their positions and they want to do anything possible to keep power, even if it means stepping on their own constituents. When this first broke, one of the things I said, we were talking about it on Roland Martin when the first story first started making national news. I said, my biggest concern is going to be the constituents of these areas, because we see across the country with some of these Republicans across the country, people are sticking to their guy, no matter how much racist stuff they say, maybe no matter if they were involved in the insurrection, no matter if they said that they believe in not getting abortions but paid for abortions, but people stick by their guy. And so I was interested to see how the constituents there in LA would react, and we saw it. Y'all come out in full force saying that these guys got to go. But this man is so power hungry that he is addicted to that. Like you said in your intro, if you are interested in creating healing and helping the community, what have you done in the year since that recording was made? Yeah, it wasn't public, but these comments were made in 2021. What's your record as relates to promoting healing in your community? You haven't demonstrated it. And so since you haven't done it in your real life, how can you expect people to expect you to be part of the process? This is about maintaining a $229,000 a year job. This is about hypocrisy. And we are in a society right now where, as Joe Madison says all the time, power is more important to some of these people than principle. This is not a principled man, and he's not going to go until y'all make him go.
And first and foremost, big shout out to my brother, Joe Madison, because he's absolutely right. We are still seeing it. Power hungry, brother. That's the great concern here at this point. It's not about service. It's not about integrity. It's not even about, wanting to change your views, right? Just having, you want to just dig your heels into the ground on this and just say, you know what, F it. You're basically telling black folks, F y'all.
Yep.
I like how he tried to shift the conversation, Brother Omakongo, to, we got a lot of work to be done. You probably the reason why. You know what I'm saying? No, bro, you got some work that needs to be done. And it's mind-blowing that we are in this place, because I think this is a microcosm of the macrocosm issue, right? Like we're all in this space of, you know, we're in a time period of election deniers. We're in a time period where people are like, oh, I know this is the rules, but the rules don't apply to me. We're in a time period where so many people, I'm talking about people in leadership. I don't understand this, brother, because here's the great dilemma I'm seeing. You cannot talk about you're going to lead with certain principles: integrity, honor, respect, right? And then when you violate all of those principles, you expect the constituents, those who are under your leadership, to follow the same principles. And I'm trying to figure out, Brother Omekongo, how is this man going to how does he really think that either his constituents or even other residents in here in LA, how do you really think that people are going to respond to that type of leadership?
You know what? I honestly think, because we've seen this nationwide, I think he's also playing off the fact that people have short memories in this country. And I'm so happy to see that people of LA not letting up. I don't think the people of LA I think he's in for a rude awakening, to be quite honest. But we've seen so many times, you can see right now with the midterms coming up, and how in some of these polls that we're seeing, issues relating to the ending of Roe v. Wade aren't coming up as a top concern, whereas in June, July, they were a huge concern. And the fact of the matter that these Republicans still stand to possibly take the House after getting rid of a constitutional right, not to mention working to overthrow the government, means that people have short-term memories and can really only focus on the things that are right in front of them, which might be the economy, which might be crime, which might be a concern about losing the democracy. And I think that De Leon is playing off of that, because we are quick to forget. But I think that right now, the energy is different. And you know this better than I do, for a community in Los Angeles that has had so much tension between Black and Latinos in the community. Of course, there have been times where there has been solidarity, but there's also been, a lot of tension. We're seeing the communities come together right now, saying we're not going to go for this. This man was sitting there laughing and not saying anything when the woman was talking about assaulting a child. And then De Leon's making comparisons to the child and expensive bags and the like, and then the Oaxacan community as well. So he's on tape either condoning or agreeing or just not saying anything at all, and your silence is compliance. So we also got to make sure that if he's going to keep talking like this, we got to hit his sponsors. All his contributors to his campaign, we got to hit them, because as the late Johnny Cochran said, hit them in the pocketbooks and their hearts and minds will follow.
I know that's right. God be with our brother Johnny Cochran. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. I saw something in the LA Times this morning, Brother Omekongo, where a number of Black developers are saying that they're not going to move forward on a $1.6 billion renovation project in LA because of the involvement of Kevin De Leon. Now, check this out. I think you bring up two solid points. I think the first one is that we often do have amnesia when certain things like this happen. Only in America. I'm gonna take the great what's his name? The fight promoter, Don
King.
What's that? Don King. Yes. Only in America can you say something crazy in public, wait 6 months, wait till a year, rebrand yourself as some hero.
Yep. That's the truth.
I've seen it with Trump people. I've seen it with a lot of folks in the Republican and the Democratic Party. Only in America that you can do that. Only in America. But let me just say this, and I think that you're absolutely on point, bro. When things like this happen, we do have short-term memory. And I'm starting to believe, and maybe it's just my pessimism a little bit, Brother Omekongo, but I'm starting to believe these politicians, these political leaders, they really don't care. I mean, let's just get it down to the fundamental fact of it, right? I'm starting just to believe, like, y'all really just don't care. You people, you manipulate folks, you try to have good sounding words, but at the end of the day, your heart, your mind, and your spirit is in a space where you just don't care. And you know what? It makes it hard. I'm gonna be honest, bro. It makes it hard when the Joker getting hemmed up on some, on some discharge or that charge. I'm not shedding no tears. I'm not.
Yeah. No, I feel you, man, and it kind of depends, right? I feel like there are people out there like Senator Warnock and Stacey Abrams and Mandela Barnes, who are out there who care, Katie Porter, who actually, care about people. But what happens with politics, particularly when you get into this thing about redistricting and putting yourself in comfortable districts, the more comfortable you make yourself, the less you have to care about people. And to your point, we're seeing that with politicians. We see it on both sides of the aisle, where people get in their comfort zone and they know they're going to get reelected either by their constituents who got their back regardless, or by just the low turnout from people who are just complacent and don't really care about politics at all. And we see in some of these races, people are winning by like 30 votes or like less than 100 votes. And so those types of politicians are the ones who get too comfortable and get too powerful until we light a fire under their behinds. And so when they're not doing that, we got to get them out and make room for the ones who are going to care and really be about serving the people. But across the country, we see too many who are look in the mirror. They might be a city councilor, but they look in the mirror and they see a mayor. They might be a mayor, they look in the mirror and see a governor. They might be a governor, look in the mirror and see a president. They always got their eyes set on the next thing, that they're not working for the people right in front of them. And that's when the people got to rise up, like you all did, getting rid of Nori Martinez and ran from the labor force, who resigned as well, Herrera, in the same situation. When the people lead, the leaders will follow. And we have to remember that. The people have to lead, and then the leaders are going to step up. When people start thinking it's the other way around, that's when and how we lose.
Yeah, I would agree with that, dear brother. I would totally agree with that. And I think part of that is that for those of us who have platforms, those of us who are able to teach and train and share, I think part of that is that we do have to emphasize that voice. And there's a mixed message, I think, that comes from even from us, right? From those who have platforms, that we either sometimes put the emphasis on the system to correct itself, quote unquote, through men and women, right?
Yeah.
Or some of us put the burden on the people, and trying to right the wrong of getting people to see their own power. And this is some of the work that you do. The work that you do as a motivational speaker, the work that you do as a justice advocate, is trying to get people to see their own power, to change not just their personal lives or their community lives, but to change institutions.
That's right.
And systems, right? And so when we look at that, and I always just kind of thought, look, you don't know how much power you really have, because I think that we have all been conditioned to believe that if there's a problem with an individual in the system is going to, quote unquote, deal with that problem.
That's right. Yeah.
The laws will. The laws will. The policy will. But in this particular case, in LA City Charter, there is no precedent for a situation like this. So therefore, they're, quote unquote, legally allowed to continue to serve, even though morally and ethically they are in violation.
This man is getting taxed.
So if that's the case, brother, so what do we do with that? I mean, as the people, as those who have been offended, how do we right that wrong?
Well, number one, we got to hold the people who pay for him and who sponsor him, whoever, I don't know who supports him, corporations, individuals, organizations. They have to be targeted. They have to be put on blast. You got to start hitting them in the pocketbook. And the members of the community, they have to continue to show no confidence in him. Now, when I was reading one of the articles that talked about this, I saw one of his constituents who said, hey, this is how a lot of us talk in private anyway. He just got caught on tape. So I'm cool with it. So, we have to remember that everybody is not completely down with getting him out. And he's going to dig in deep as it relates to those guys. And so we have to continue to be more vocal, because once his money starts to dry up and once more people in the community start to really put pressure on him to go, and the celebrities out there in LA as well, the Snoops of the world and all of those who have these platforms really start to target him, I do believe it's just a matter of time if people don't forget. we got the midterms coming up, in less than a month, so much, and then
Yeah.
people are going to start talking 2024, and who knows what else is coming down the pike. There might be some other type of thing that may happen on a violence level that may change, shift our consciousness. But it's
Right.
going to be up to the people who are his constituents to continue to lead this charge. If they don't do it, then he will stay there. And these people have to ask, what if you're really about this life? What have you done since that recording happened that actually showed that you're about promoting peace and promoting tolerance and respect and creating communities where everybody can be celebrated and not tolerated? We can't make systemic change and commit to changing the community if we don't change ourselves first. And I haven't heard anything about in these interviews about what he's doing to change himself. I haven't heard anything about, we've heard mea culpas and apologies all day, but what are you doing? What town hall meetings are you having to get people an opportunity to vent their frustration directly to you? Like what? I don't really feel like he's about this life. And that's why the people have to be consistent and persistent in making sure that he's gone. We got to get his sponsors and target them as well.
Yeah, I mean that, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. And I think that this place that we're in, this state of denial, when you deny the truth, brother, there's fundamentally something that is inherently wrong within you as an individual. Like when you deny, and I'm talking about deny. I'm not talking about, oh, I got caught, therefore I have to apologize. I'm talking about when you deny to the point where you don't even see you're the problem.
That's right. Yes. That's
like
arrogance
being in a
at a whole
relationship
level.
with somebody, and then they do you wrong, and then they like, well, I said I'm sorry, and it's like, but you're not even, like you say, if you're not gonna do something to atone for the hurt, for the pain.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What are we talking about here, bro? Like,
That's right.
like you. I said I'm sorry, so let's just move on.
Yep. And some of these guys move on without
even people.
You have people who front, you got like the Herschel Walkers of the world, for example, who says, who denies the whole abortion thing, but then says, I'm redeemed. Well, in order to be redeemed, you got to recognize that you did something wrong. In order to, get forgiveness, you got to actually say that you're sorry for something. So going off your point, some of these guys are just so arrogant and cocky that they're just caught up in the delusion of power. But if people keep looking at these guys as celebrities, as these larger than life figures and the like, then they have, what reason do they have to apologize? What reason do they have to try to have some type of truth and reconciliation within themselves? And it comes down to what the people demand of their leaders. And we're not demanding enough of our leaders today, which is why they continue to get over.
You know why? And I'm gonna I know we got a few moments left, but you know why, brother, on Congo, we don't push them?
Break it down.
I think some of us wish we had the same privilege.
Ooh. Well, damn. I wish I could come back with something. I wish I could refute that.
Hey, bro, I think some of us wish that we had the money or the status to be able to do what the hell we want to do and not suffer the consequences. I think that's what it is. It's like we admire we could talk about the Kanye Wests of the world or the Kevin DeLeon and all that, people that can just say whatever with no accountability, with no real consequences. And a lot of us deep down inside, we wish we had the same privilege. You know what I mean? Well, like if you had
aspirational.
Hey, brother, like you said that one of the constituents said, well, we talk like that. And see, guess what? You wish you could talk like that and not get lambasted for or not get blown away for. You want that privilege. So why are we going to? So it makes sense to me that you wouldn't penalize a person because you do the same thing and they're in a position that you want to be in. You don't want, so you feel like, hey man, I would be going against my own self. I would be calling myself a hypocrite. And how many of us are willing to do that unless you're in a very I would say in an enlightened space to look at our own wrongs, right? To really look at our own wrongs and say, my wrongs has contributed to the wrongs that have affected others. Some of us are not in that enlightened space.
You just explained Trump's rise to power. Quite honestly, that's what Trump unleashed in this country. So many of his supporters, they wanted to be able to say those racist statements, those Islamophobic statements, those anti-Semitic statements. They saw him doing it, and they're like, well, if he can do it, I can do it too. And, a lot of people are like, well, I may not like this or that, but he's going to keep those people in place. As Lyndon Johnson said, if you can convince the poorest white man that he's better than the best colored man, he won't realize you're picking his pocket. Give him someone to look down on and he'll empty his pockets for you. That's how Trump came to power, by saying the things out loud that many people wanted to say in public. And that's why they're sticking to him, because he represents where they want to be. It's exactly what you said. It's that aspirational mentality to be able to be just like that, which is why so many of these guys stay in power. You nailed it.
Because I think, brother, to be honest with you, I think a lot of people just don't like the idea of being politically correct, feeling like they got to be censored. You know what I'm saying? And I think there are so many like underlining or deeper issues at play here, because social media has added to it, right? The social media has given everybody a platform. Social media has made you that the most important person in the room and in the conversation is you, right? Everybody else. You are the one, right? So we all feel quote unquote empowered in some sense of the word. And so we want to be able to say what we want to say, do what we want to do with no regard, with no consideration, right?
That's right.
With no consequences. And let me tell you, this is why I think a lot of black men, I don't want to open up the Pandora's box, but I'm gonna say it because I'm sure you've seen it. I think this is a part of the attraction that black men have to Trump, because they feel like, man, here's a man that's standing before me. He could say whatever, he could do whatever, he could move however, he got money, he got privilege. I mean, look at the messaging that comes from any one of these individuals. When you empower, when you have money and status in this country, it allows you to go into places, do things and say things, and allow you to be around people, right? And you can say, like, as much as we might say something about Kanye West or whoever, if you still in a position of power.
Yeah.
So some of us are willing to take the hit. We're willing to take the quote unquote the political correctness hit. But guess what? I still got money. I still got my name or my status, or I still got the platform. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's a dangerous place, not just for any political leader. That's a dangerous place for the human being right now. That we don't care to the point that we're at this place. Go ahead, brother. I'm sorry.
No, I hear you, man. No, I feel you. And I feel like even when we talk about black men, I mean, black men are still the number 2 voting bloc for Democrats, after black women. So they still are very strong and present in the Democratic Party. But you are right in the sense of, I would just say that men in general, there are just men of all backgrounds who are attracted to seeing other men with power because they want to have it. And conversely, they're mad when they see women get that power that they want to have, which is why no matter who that's just how I see it, right? And so I feel like with that type of situation, I mean, you even saw somebody like a Jim Brown, gravitating towards Donald Trump, right? And so really at the end of the day, when it comes down to that idea of power and what you feel like people can control, there's a magnetic force behind that. And we have to really do a better job of checking ourselves, checking what we really want to be about as it relates to our community. And, if we're raising, our children, sons, daughters, our children, what do we want them to see going forward? How do we want them to be represented as well as respected? And put that into perspective first. And that should automatically drive us to get out there and do the work that we need to do for a better community, not just for a better individual situation.
Right. Let me take a couple of quick comments and I'm gonna let you go, brother. Really quickly, Shalinda, you said, I wouldn't trust De Leon to lead me to the toilet.
I love it. That's what's up, Shalinda.
He's probably already in the toilet because he's full of it.
I like it.
Willie, Shalinda, thank you so much. Willie, you said the thing is there are very few politicians who are public servants. They're mostly business owners who can influence their bottom line. And that's true. That's true. But people have used politics as a business come up, right? So we do know that side exists. But you're right. And I don't even know and we might have to go and have like a civics 101 class nowadays, somewhere just to go back to civics, because public decency, being humane to the needs of other people. Like if you live in LA, if you live in any major city, and you just take a moment to reflect on how we treat one another, how we look at one another, right? Just taking a moment, right? Not like stop the movements for a minute. Just look around and take a look. Go to a busy area of town and take a look.
That's right.
Take a look. And think about, try to really take a moment to look in the heart and the spirit and the energy of the individual, to see that person in the midst of all of this stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? And it's sad because the even sadder part about this, Brother Omekongo, is the fact that we're really all in the same place.
That's right. That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
Like we're really all in the same place. Like we're all insecure. We're all seeking something. We're all looking for fulfillment, all wanting love. We're all yearning for justice. We're really all in the same place on a fundamental level, but the expression of I'm going to hurt you, I'm going to diminish your humanity, I'm going to make you feel less than, but you my neighbor. You live down the street from me.
Yeah.
I come into your business and patronize your business, but you feel like you can treat me a certain way. You can say whatever to me because you hate something in yourself so much that just the thought of another human being that may look like you, that may act like you, or live in the same neighborhood as you is disgusting. I mean, it's deep, man.
Yeah. That's part of that zero-sum game. That's part of that. I win, you lose. I lose, you win. You can't, we're fighting for small pieces of the pie as opposed to coming together and making a bigger pie. And going to Willie's point, I really feel like we need to make sure that as it relates to the political process, that more of us who are public servants are getting involved in the political process, because no matter how rich you are, everybody gets one vote. So we got to make sure, the teachers, the preachers, other people in the community, why not get out there and run for school board? Why not get out there and run for city council and different things? We can get out there if we continue to say, well, these guys, none of them are public servants. Yeah, some of them come in as public servants, but get corrupt and leave, they came in, well, kind of broke, and they leave wealthy. But you do have others who continue in roles where they're still serving the people. But again, it comes down to what the people demand of their leaders. And so I think all of us who are out there need to consider getting into the political system so we can make sure that public servants are the ones who are continually serving. Get out there and run for something.
I would agree. And I would say get into the system because we need some humanity and people who respect the truth to be in the system. Brother Omekongo Dibenya, it's always a pleasure. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon. We truly appreciate you, brother. I'm looking forward to bringing you back on.
Can't wait. Looking forward to it. Thank you, bro.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Folks, we got to take a quick pause. When we come forward, let's talk about the latest in the investigations around those rash of HBCU bomb threats. Stay with us. That discussion is up next. I'll have that with you. It's The Culture right here on the Black Star Network.
Hatred on the streets, a horrific scene, a white nationalist rally that descended into deadly violence.
White people are losing their damn minds.
As an angry pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol, we've seen shootings.
We're about to see the rise of what I call white minority resistance. We have seen white folks in this country who simply cannot tolerate black folks voting.
I think what we're seeing is the inevitable result of violent denial.
This is part of American history. Every time that people of color have made progress, whether real or symbolic, there has been what Carol Anderson at Emory University calls white rage as a backlash.
This is the rise of the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys. America, there's going to be more of this.
Here's all the Proud Boys, guys.
This country is getting increasingly racist in its behaviors and its attitudes because of the fear of white people.
The fear that they're taking our jobs, they're taking our resources, they're taking our women. This is white fear.
When we invest in ourselves, we all shine. Together, we are Black beyond measure.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in Black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in Black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Checks and money orders go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is RolandSMartin.com.
Welcome to Atlanta, one of the most expensive housing markets in America. But rather than help out, Brian Kemp cashed in. He made hundreds of thousands of dollars in real estate. His net worth skyrocketed. And while Atlantans struggled to stay in their homes, Kemp gave $10,000 tax handouts to the richest Georgians and a nearly $700 million no-bid contract to his campaign donor. Brian Kickback Kemp, making Georgia work for him, not you.
Folks, welcome back to The Culture here on the Black Star Network. We want to switch gears now to give you some of the latest updates around the rash of bomb threats that were threatening HBCUs across the country. If you remember, folks, earlier this year, back in January, North Carolina Central University was one of many universities that have experienced a bomb threat, and that was back on January the 4th. So we're talking about the beginning of 2022. The life and the safety and the well-being of Black students were already threatened at the beginning of this new year. Well, let me share with you just a little bit of what's been determined at this point, as the FBI is saying that they have not made any arrests, or at least over the past 6 months. But it's been reported by USA Today that after bomb threats rattled HBCU, frustration with funding and no FBI word on arrest. Now, let me just share with you a little bit about this. And this is disheartening, and I would love to get your take on this. So join us in the conversation right now. Post your comments on our streaming platforms as we're streaming live on YouTube and Facebook, and we would love to hear from you. But what do you make of this? How should we have move forward as we look at this situation? Here it is. Here's what's been reported, that North Carolina Central University officials have noticed a change in students since a January bomb threat at the HBCU, where they're seeing more depression, anxiety, and distress. Now, according to NCCU officials, they received the bomb threat at approximately 5:30 p.m. on January the 4th. The campus went into lockdown. Students were relocated. The call to the university's Durham campus was among at least half a dozen threats aimed at HBCUs just that day alone, folks. By the end of Black History Month in February, bomb threats at HBCUs had swelled to at least 57, leaving administrators and students on edge and rekindling a history of violence aimed at Black students seeking educational advancement. Now, the FBI has said in March that it was investigating 6 subjects in the bomb threat cases, but no arrests were made, and the menacing behavior continued into the next school year. Wow. So we haven't really seen much happen. Of course, the investigations are continuing to happen, but we haven't seen any arrests or anything made. How does that make you feel? Do you feel confident that we will find, or that the FBI will get to the bottom of this situation? 57 bomb threats have been made to HBCUs across the country. And I'm so happy that, USA Today, they kept following this and other outlets, but, it's important that we understand, and back to Brother, Omakongo, who said that, we're sometimes so inundated with a lot of information day in and day out that we don't always remember when certain things happen. But, when I reflected on that time period, it was very, very scary. It was very scary that our students were subjugated to that level of violence. And we don't know whether it was hate crimes, quote unquote, or if it was a form of political violence. Well, what was going on? But the unfortunate part is, and I'm with, some of these HBCU officials, it's frustrating because we're not seeing the type of arrest, we're not seeing the headway we want to see on this situation. Share your thoughts with me, post your comments on our streaming platforms right now. Let me just share what people are already talking about this here. And I want to make sure that we get right into your comments, because I'm personally I'm wondering if we're not seeing anything, do you think that this investigation will continue to happen? That's my concern. Sometimes they close cases like this because they're not getting any leads, right? It becomes a cold case. And I would hate for this to be a cold case and then it gets reignited again because some new threats come through. Oh, man. Mike V, you checked in. You said, Farajii, in regards to HBCUs, the bad guys only need to get right once. We have to get it right every single time. How will the Department of Homeland Security and ATF respond is the question I have. Absolutely. I think, Mike, you are absolutely right, bro. I think that that's a good question. And, and we can always have that conversation and say, well, if it was another school, would we see this type of response? I don't know. Hate crimes are still hard to get a handle on, right? Especially when you're dealing with something of this magnitude where, you have all of these different institutions, all these different colleges and universities. You have people calling in bomb threats. Like you have to do a lot to try to keen in on who's responsible. So I'm right there with you, Mike. But that's a big question. What is DHS and ATF going to do about it? Ming Lee, Natasha Surge, you said, I'm sick of watching folks get away with this stuff. I hear you. I am too. And I think that again, going back to what Brother me and Omakongo were talking about, this is the point where we have to be involved. Like if you have a young person, a student, like a child, your niece, your nephew, grandson, granddaughter, or just somebody that you mentor, if you have them going to an HBCU, I would say check up on them. Check up on them. I would say get in contact with the school and ask the school, hey, how are things at your school? Are things still safe? I'm calling because I'm hearing that the FBI hasn't made any arrests. So for those schools that have been targeted, follow up with them. Use your voice to create a choir of voices that's going to stand up for this, but follow up with them. Janae, you checked in and said, this is disheartening because it's homecoming season right now. Right. Great point, Janae. Great point. You say HU this weekend, but some high schools were also affected. They don't get it, the high level alert, but they also dropped the bomb on 1/6/21. Yeah, January the 6th. Right. You're right. And this is homecoming season. So I hope we don't hear anything. I know that a lot of the I know Morgan had his homecoming. I think Howard, they had their homecoming. But I don't want to put out no crazy energy for people to think that this is, by this being homecoming season, that this is okay. But I do believe that we need to keep our eyes on it. Great point today. Thank you so much. Sophia, you checked in, my sister Sophia Gonzalez. You said this is something Biden needs to fix, make a special team for these HBCUs. Yeah, you know what? He did look into this, and you know who was responsible, right? Vice President Kamala Harris. She pledged to schools in March, and this was reported as the White House launched a program for HBCUs whose learning environments were disrupted by the threats, that the intimidation would not stand. This is coming from USA Today. Of course, Vice President Harris, she's a graduate of an HBCU, Howard University, and she said that she would do everything in our power to protect community from hateful acts. Now, I don't know if this works, but I think this is helpful either way. You know, since that time that she said in March that she was going to do something, everything in her power, 7 months later, there have been a number of HBCUs that have been awarded funds, but some of these HBCUs have expressed frustration with the Pell Grant, with the federal grant application process, and the limits on using awarded money. So there have been some HBCUs that have been getting some money as a result of this threat and just an overall support. But a lot of the money that they have gotten is for security and safety, public safety. You know, this is not just random money. This is for public safety. But I think that, you know, again, we have to be the determining factor around the situation, folks. All right, let me take some more of your comments, because folks, I'm so happy to see that people are checking in. The Genesis, you said for some reason they don't feel like we deserve protection. Yeah, Genesis. Yeah. We might, and some of us may feel the same way. And the reason I always kind of bring it back to us, because I don't want us to get into a position where we're always like pointing to somebody else and we're not looking at how we have possibly played a role in creating a culture where we are left unsafe, right? And that's what I'm saying. I always look back at us and say, okay, what could we done better to make sure that this doesn't continue to happen? Some stuff you just put it on somebody, but other stuff you gotta think, okay, am I also a part of the problem, or am I a part of the solution? So, a good point, Genesis. According to Politico, one of the president of Tougaloo College in Mississippi, she said at a gathering of HBCU presidents back in DC in August, she said she's beyond frustrated. This is Carmen Walters. She said, I'm beyond frustrated. I'm very angry that no one has been brought to justice, but there's been no conversation about the investigation at all. So if HBCUs have been left in the dark by the FBI, then that's another point that we need to drive home. That's another point we need to drive home. And if you remember, when the Biden administration, they launched an FBI investigation into the February threats, labeling the incidents hate crimes and racially or ethnically motivated violent extremism. So the reason that they did that is because it will give them extra resources, and it will, if someone is arrested, they're able to suffer the consequences of committing a hate crime, and not just any type of crime. So it's important that distinction is made by the president, vice president, and his administration. Taylor, you checked in and said the fact that there were 57 threats at the same time seems like it makes it easier to solve. All those threats lead back to one offender or group. It may, but it may not. You can have threats in the 10 places and then a bunch of copycats pop up. And I know that was a part of the conversation as well, even back then, that there could be copycats out there. But I definitely see your point on that. I definitely see your point. Mike V, you said, a perfect opportunity for a Black private security contractor to manage HBCUs and receive federal funding for it. Let's say $1.1 billion. I'm just saying. Yeah, I mean, if you want to, I think so. I think another idea, I think that's a good idea. I think another idea is to teach and train the students on how to keep their eyes open, to be aware when they're on campus, right? That won't cost billions of dollars. You could just do a basic training. So that's a consideration. Turner family, you checked in and said, don't let people play stupid. It takes technical know-how to mask a phone number. Even burner phones can be tracked to a point. Use all resources, phone tower tracking, traffic, cams, etc. Come on. Yeah, there's a lot. Yep. The technology that we use plays a huge role in all of this. And Janelle, you checked in and said, until legislation is written specific to domestic terrorism, any homicide violence falls under other departments, and the educational department has never gotten much love. Put it under the Department of Defense and watch. Yeah, we will have to see. We will have to see. And that designation, that which category you would put this in, makes a world of difference. It makes a world of difference. It helps whether your stuff is going to be seen or reviewed or have some eyes on it. It makes a world of difference. All right, let me see something here. Let's go back to see if we can get one more in before we take our next break. And I'm loving all of what you're saying, folks. Loving it all. Turner family, Willie Frazier, excuse me, you said, if I'm not mistaken, the Fed said the perpetrators use sophisticated software that makes it hard to track them, encryption and proxy service. I did hear a little bit about that, Willie, and I'm not sure where we are with that, of course, because, no new updates on that, or if there was a rebuttal to that at all. So I did hear that it was like this networker, and I thought I remember, and I might be way wrong on this, maybe this is a different situation, but I thought I heard where it was like a number of teenagers that possibly could have called in, could have been behind all of these threats. But I may be wrong. I think they were like white teenagers. But again, I may be wrong. But this just goes to show you that we're living in very, very uncertain times right now. Very, very uncertain times. And my hope is that this situation is over with, that we won't hear about any more bomb threats. I hope, but we will have to see. Look, I got to take a quick pause. When we come back, folks, we're going to switch gears. Let's talk about giving. The giving season is upon us. And as we kick off Thanksgiving, then, of course, Christmas, and then going toward the end of the year. And we want to talk a little bit about the joy of volunteering and giving. We're going to be checking in with Dr. Dunn, who is one of the founders of the Dunn Foundation, to talk about the annual turkey giveaway and so much more. And then later on, let's talk about the power of beauty as we check in with makeup artist and entrepreneur Eva Jane to give us her take about her pathway to creating a brand, to doing the work that she's doing of doing makeup artistry, and so much more. So we got a lot to get to. So stay with us this next hour right here on The Culture on the Black Star Network. We'll be right back.
When we invest in ourselves, our glow, our vision, our vibe, we all shine. Together, we are black beyond measure.
Pull up a chair, take your seat. The Black Tape with me, Dr. Greg Carr, here on the Black Star Network. Every week, we'll take a deeper dive into the world we're living in. Join the conversation only on the Black Star Network.
I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and my new show, Get Wealthy, focuses on the things that your financial advisor and bank isn't telling you, but you absolutely need to know. So watch Get Wealthy on the Black Star Network.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jackie Hood Martin, and I have a question for you. Ever feel as if your life is teetering and the weight and pressure of the world is consistently on your shoulders? Well, let me tell you, living a balanced life isn't easy. Join me each Tuesday on Black Star Network for A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie. We'll laugh together, cry together, pull ourselves together, and cheer each other on. So join me for new shows each Tuesday on Black Star Network, A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie.
When we invest in ourselves, We all shine. Together, we are Black Beyond.
Welcome to Atlanta, one of the most expensive housing markets in America. But rather than help out, Brian Kemp cashed in. He made hundreds of thousands of dollars in real estate. His net worth skyrocketed. And while Atlantans struggled to stay in their homes, Kemp gave $10,000 tax handouts to the richest Georgians and a nearly $700 million no-bid contract to his campaign donor, Brian Kickback Kemp, making Georgia work for him, not you.
Peace and welcome back to the culture right here on the Black Star Network. I'm your host, Farajii Muhammad. Thank you so much for being able to tune in for the second hour of today's show. Great show that we're having so far. Folks, before we jump into our next conversation, I got to let you know we are doing some big and bold things here at Black Star Network, always moving the conversation forward, always pushing the boundaries about where we can go as we continue to talk about the culture and so much more. So that's why we ask you to continue to show your support for the work we're doing as a Black-owned media institution. Go to blackstarnetwork.com. Again, that's blackstarnetwork.com. Download the app for free. Make sure that you give something financially so we can sustain ourselves. And of course, share the content as we give you the latest, the news and events and everything that's happening within Black America. This will not be an investment that you will be ashamed of. Will be a worthwhile investment as we continue to do the great work of telling our story and pleading our cause. So again, show your support to us at blackstarnetwork.com. Also, while you're on the website, make sure you follow us on all of our social media platforms at Black Star Network on Twitter and Instagram. And then follow yours truly, me, Farajii Muhammad. I would love to have you as part of my group. I don't like to say follow us. Let's say we're building a community, folks. We are continuing to build our community here on the culture, and I love to hear what you have to say. So you follow me, I follow you back. We talk, we build. And some great things will continue to happen. So thank you so much for your continued support of the work that we're doing here on Black Star Network. Thank you for supporting us here on the culture, and let's continue to move forward. All right, folks, I wanted to have another conversation because as we are approaching this giving season for 2022 is fastly approaching us, and we are wondering, how will things be different this year? What should we expect? And so I'm so happy to be checking in with my brother again, who is doing some remarkable work through his foundation, the Dunn Foundation, and so many other projects that he has his hands involved in. We want to welcome back to the airwaves of the Black Star Network and of the culture here, Dr. Dunn. Brother, peace and blessings, Dr. Dunn. How you feeling, brother?
What's up, Farrajii? How you doing, man?
I'm good, brother. How are you?
Man, listen, it's a great day, right? We oftentimes, man, complain about a lot of things, but so this is a good day. It's a good day. It's a good time right now. We're getting geared up, so it's good to be here, man. How you been?
It's good to have you. It's good to see you again, brother. It's good to see you again.
Yeah. We got cut off the last time on some technology.
It's all good though.
Be good now.
Today.
Yeah, it's not good today.
That's right. You are here today. First and foremost, Dr. Dunn, talk to us a little bit for those who are some of our new watchers. Tell us about the work that you're doing with your foundation.
So I'm the founder of the Dunn Foundation. I founded the Dunn Foundation back in when I came back from Iraq back in 2004. Just wanted to be able to give back. Being in a community, in Iraq, and you seeing how people are living. A lot of things we complain about. You don't really know what it is that how tough things are until you see somebody else having it worse. And so, I was running community centers, many years, 20-something years, and, wanted to be a part of changing and giving back to my community. Oftentimes you think you got to be a mega star or a super athlete. And, and that was my goal as I was young, is to be able to always give back to my community. So we just started with small projects. First, we started with the Adopt a Soldier project, where we were sending packages back to soldiers in Iraq from people that didn't know. And then, we slowly but surely, we started these campaigns about turkeys, and back to school. And so the turkey drive, which started back in 2009, when I was running Marlow Heights Community Center, in Maryland, which is a lower socioeconomic community right outside of Washington, D.C. And it really started, which is just one of the activities that we do. We do so many activities throughout the year, but just to talk more about, the turkey drive and how it got started, was, the staff came to me and asked me, they said, look, we have a family, a group that's here that, in the family, in the community, that needs a turkey. Can you get them a turkey? And I was like, a turkey? I could do that. It's no problem. So, I bought a turkey, things that we don't think about, right? And this is a community where the median income is less than $30,000. And we're talking about, a family of 4 right outside of Washington, D.C., in this area right here. When you're making that type of money, man, you're not really, you struggling. It's tough. It's tough to put food on the table. And so I bought that turkey. It was 2 younger kids that lived in the neighborhood, and I should see them all the time. One was 9 and one was 6. And I would always be wondering, like, why are they always outside? But, I found out that grandma and great grandma were taking care of them. So it was no problem to buy them a turkey. But the reaction, so when I took the turkey to them, like the little girl jumped in my arms, the grandmother hugged me, the great grandmother hugged me. Like they hugged me as if I had given them something that was so important to them. I remember leaving there and it hit me. I was like, wow, we take a lot of things for granted. Me and my boys, and probably some of your listeners as well, we complain about a lot of things, but we still can go to the mall, buy sneakers, still feed, travel. We could do things. So at that moment, I can remember hanging out with my boys at the bar, and I was like, look, man, I told them what happened, told them reaction. I said, look, so next year, I want to be able to bless at least 50 families with turkeys. I said, so then look, we at the bar now, and y'all know we waste a whole lot of money here. So I'm gonna need 100 from you. I'm gonna give you. And they was like, oh man, I got you. So that next year, instead of 50, man, we was able to give away 134 turkeys, 134 families. So I was like, wow, is that easy? So the cliche of we all just do a little bit, right? We can help a lot. So now it started that little circle. And so I started there, then we did from 134, then we moved to 200, and then we went to 300, then we jumped up to 500, 600, and here we are. 5,000 families later, we've been able to provide over 5,000 families with free turkeys every Thanksgiving. And it's larger than that, right? Let me tell you why it's so larger than that. Things we take for granted. Do you know that Thanksgiving is the only holiday that's built around food? Other holidays have food, but it's designed to bring people together over food, right? So it don't matter whether you was a family member, unemployed, or in a relationship, not in a relationship, whatever, it is single, right? It don't matter what's going on. It was that food during Thanksgiving, right? That's brought families together, and that still does. It's still valuable. And so when I tell people, like, man, like, why you continue with this, and what is it? Well, I said it's a few years back. Let's go a few years back. And we do this every year. It's always the Saturday before Thanksgiving, and we give it away. But let me tell you what pushed the metal. I'm running a community center, right? So I'm in a lower socioeconomic community where you don't have a whole lot of parents to come into the center to give you no high fives and say they like it. Most of the times when they come in the center, they come in there to complain, somebody to mess with their kid. It's wild all the time, right? And so I'm the director. You know how you can see somebody walk in. So I watched the parent walk in, her whole body language. And when somebody come in, and this was African-American moms, when they heated, you can see it all in their face. You know what I mean? So I watched her walk in. I watched the staff point to my office, almost like, we don't want nothing to do with that, right? I just remember it like yesterday. Even her knock on my door was aggressive. And so I was on the phone. She knocked on the door, and I was like, let me go ahead and hang up, right? And she said, you know, and you know, she said, you know, she said, "You Mr. Dunn?" And I said, "Yes." And she says, you know, she mentioned her name and she mentioned her kid's name. Now, the first thing I thought, I knew her kids. And I'm like, I know she ain't up in here about to complain about it. She has some bad kids. I know she's not coming up in here. That was my thought, right? But I still got to remain professional, right? So I stayed professional. And she says, and she knows, she says, "Look, Mr. Dunn, I know I look like I got it together." I mean, she was, you know, properly dressed in her work outfit. She says, "But I just want to," she says, "I want to tell you something." She says, "You know, my husband passed away 6 months ago." She said, "It's been hard out here, Mr. Dunn." She said, "I'm working extra shifts." She said, "I got to leave the kids in the house so I can get more hours." She said, "And I told them that this year it's going to be tough. And I don't think that we can have a Thanksgiving like we had and like we always had when Daddy was here." She said, "But the turkey you gave us, now we can have a real Thanksgiving. And I just want to say thank you." Man, wow. When I told that, I tell people, I tell anyone, I've been traveling around forever, for years, NBC, anywhere I done spoke, telling this story. And I said, after that, I was like, oh, we can't give up now. You know, we got to keep moving. So what I did was I just started, you know, reaching out to my friends, and they reached out to their network. And I said, you know what, if we all just do a little, we can help a lot. And so that's the core of it. It's nothing you could do with a Thanksgiving, with a turkey, other than cook it, right? Or give it away. Can't resell it. So turkeys is something that's so important. And so with that, after that story right there, we just didn't stop, man. We just didn't stop. And so each year, we do a free turkey giveaway, and we don't, you know, we do at least 600 families. You know, we do a registration. It doesn't matter where you come from. We don't care what you look like when you come, because we know too that you don't have to look like you have a need to have a need, right? Yep. And what else you gonna do with a turkey other than cook it anyway, right? So if you're willing to wait in line to get a turkey when you can go across the street and get a 99-cent 10-pound turkey for $10, we know you need it. So you know, we do a registration, and you know, and you know, we've had partners like the Chick-fil-A of District Heights, and I got to give them mad love, man. You know, they provide free meal coupons, and it's not just that. We use that as a resource to provide additional services for you. You know, we got an annual back to school book bag we give away. We did 1,000 book bags, which I think we talked about the last time I was on the show. We got a homeless initiative, a year-round homeless initiative that we do, but we do a real big homeless initiative called Warming Hearts for the Homeless, where every day of Christmas, on Christmas, we partner with what so others might eat here in Washington, D.C., where it's a feeding site that feeds over 750 homeless people a day. Well, what we do is we collect book bags. Because what do you see most homeless people have? Book bags, right? So, or bags. So we put book bags and we put warming items in there. And our next to youngest daughter, Taj, you know, was in college, and she wanted to start a campaign with that, and we started small, and, you know, and we grew, and we continued, and you know, and it's a huge event. And what we do is we pack those book bags with warming items, hats, coats, blankets, snacks. We can put inside of there, gloves, hand warmers. And what we do is we give them out on Christmas Day, right? We forget that population still needs something too. So when they come to get their meal on that day, they pick up a book bag. So, you know, this is the season of giving, you know, if we, you know, and those of us who came from humble beginnings like myself, you should never forget where you came from. And my grandmother taught me that when you give more than you receive, you're going to receive more later. So the blessings that I've been able to obtain to even be, you know, be right here, you know, was based on giving. And it doesn't require you to have a lot. Remember, you don't have to have a lot to be able to help a lot.
That's right.
You know, so you know, this is the time right now. I mean, we still need sponsors. I mean, and we make it easy for anyone to support us, right? You can go to our website, thedunnfoundation.com, or email us at thedunnfoundation@gmail. But we make it easy where you can just, from where you're living at, right? We tell people we don't want anyone to ever think that their support is not going to a worthy cause. We're not trying to make money off that. We're trying to make things happen. You know what I mean? And so putting all of our hands together so that we can be able to help families around a time, and especially now, think about the time we're in right now. Prices are high, right? Some people are still having a problem put food on the table based on the economy and the climate that we're in, So just being able to provide a turkey, a meal, and inside we put resources, right? So if you're a family member who's maybe been incarcerated, you're looking for a job, you know what? We put resources in there. If you're someone that's looking for additional services for child care, we put resources in the bag. So it's not just the item. That's what separates our giving dynamics versus just giving and you just show up and leave. We stay connected to you. We thought if you need it this year, you probably need it again next year, right? Yep. So we stay connected with those same family members. And the stories that we hear, oh man, you just be amazed the type of stories we hear when, that was just one story I gave you about, a mom who was trying to feed her kids. And we all know stories like that right now. We all know stories like that. Some of us came from stories like that. But we know that food, right? If you can put food on the table, we can just bring everybody together where they can pray for a better day. So that's where we are with the Dunn Foundation. And again, we have a, college tour. I could go on and on about our college tour, which we hope we come back and talk about that. We call it the HBCU experience. Yeah. We basically, take kids who've never been to college and we make sure their first presidents on a campus. They get to see people that look just like them. And it's just an experience. It's not about encouraging. It's just to let them know that through our sub mission is that you can go to school too. So I just appreciate, just being able to kind of talk about it and
brother. Hey, and Dr. Dunn, I appreciate you for taking all those lessons and taking all those moments and turning it into action. Mm-hmm. Because some of us would just be like, oh, okay, that was a good moment. That was a good feeling. And then kind of go home, but you're putting it into action. And I wanted to just bring up the fact that, people like giving right now in this time of year, giving, volunteering, other ways to show gratitude, it's changing. Right. It's a changing environment. I was doing some research about the issue earlier, and I came across this article out of Fortune magazine, and it said this. Take a look, folks. It says that according to a recent report from the Giving USA Foundation in Keenan, Ariel, if you could put this quote on the screen, please. Thank you. It says that according to a recent report from the Giving USA Foundation and Indiana University's Lilly Family School of Philanthropy, the form of support a nonprofit gets may depend in part on the age of its supporters. Younger Americans more often report taking action over the last year, while older generations who are financially better off more often cut checks. So young people want action, older members want checks, want to send checks.
Right.
And so I want to kind of get your take on this, because are you finding that dynamic taking root in the Dunn Foundation and the work y'all are doing?
Well, the beautiful part about the Dunn Foundation is that it consists of family and friends, board members, our children, our volunteer base. We have a volunteer base, over 50 volunteers who are family and friends who've been a part of it, and they extend it to their friends. So, but I do feel that in this day and time, the younger generation are more inclined to be out there, to do more, to have more of a physical presence for a few reasons. I think one is we're looking at the way the economy is, right? A lot of them are staying at home now, can't really afford to kind of move out like some of us did back in the day when we, 18, 19, we were out, you know what I mean? Where they're still at home now. So, they're there. So their presence is different. And on the opposite side, where we talk about older generations, you're right. They did it. So they're more tired. They're like, we did 20 years of volunteer every single day, every week. So we still want to help, but physically much rather, we know, because they know too, it still costs. These events cost. They're not, it's not like all of a sudden there's something to fly out of the sky. You know what I mean? Like, but I run we run a more of a philanthropy dynamic. Like we're gonna do everything we can to make it work. We're gonna use our own resources and extend it so others can be able to contribute to help out as well too. Because a lot of times people think that you really have to like have a whole lot to be able to help a whole lot. But really,
that's true, brother.
We can all do it. We all. I just believe that if we all just do a little, we can help a lot. And so I do feel that it's a changing guard of support. I mean, we've seen it with the protests now. We're watching a younger generation being more, having their presence being known. So I do think that study, that research study results does kind of speak to the fabric of where we are in the U.S. today. And I think that, and it needs to continue. You got to think, man, teaching it's now a requirement for schools, for students to have some type of community service. The difference in the era before wasn't.
Hey, Dr. Dunn, it's not just a requirement. I would also add, bro, that, it's a requirement for school, but it's a requirement for any position that you go into during the work world, right?
Right.
You and I, you've been working in various places, various settings. I've worked in various places, various settings.
Right.
And there's nothing like a person who has the emotional intelligence, the leadership capabilities to be able to go into a space, to respect the people in that space, and to provide some quality service, right?
Right.
Nothing like this, man. And I think that's exactly where we are right now. That this generation in particular, and then the elders who have been here, that we understand the role that we play in this whole thing.
Right.
And you know what? I'm a huge fan and I'm a big advocate. If you have not done any sort of volunteer work, whether it's with a turkey giveaway, clothes giveaway, food bank, it's really hard to just speak on something that you have no experience in.
Right.
You can't talk about, well, this won't work, that won't work.
Right.
Until you've done it.
Right.
And I'm like, look, I've done a lot of giveaways in terms of clothes and food. And Dr. Dunn, everything you said today is right on point. You don't know how important give away some clothes. Like we used to give, I was at it with a church. They had the big food giveaway. Everything was in a box. Fresh fruits and vegetables, canned food, stuff like that. Man, look, people that was making good money.
Right.
Stopping through.
Right. You don't have to look like you have a need.
Brother, can I get a box? Can I get a box, man?
Right.
Yeah, man, go ahead and get a box.
Right.
And look, and one of the big things that I've really enjoyed being in those spaces is the energy that comes to the community. Because most of the time we're in those low income, resource deficient communities that are part of our community, right?
Right.
So when you go in there and you see it hand to hand, face to face, having interactions with our people,
right?
And often I bring my son. My son would be with me.
Right.
Man, look, that's an experience that your son, your daughter, the child, you will never forget that, man.
Right.
You will never forget that, man. And I think that for us, we have to just emphasize this more, man. Like I hope this holiday season that folks, if you're in DC, you go help Dr. Dunn. I don't care where you go. You can go to the YMCA. You can go to the NAACP.
Right.
Man, feed some people, man.
Right. We all gotta listen. We all probably a lot of us got a closet full of clothes, man, that we don't wear, haven't worn, and
come on, brother.
Probably don't even need. You know what I mean? That, believe it or not, just a small task, will help just really in so many ways, because we still have a issue. Okay, we're watching. Research will tell you that homelessness has increased, i.e., homeless veterans. We have a veterans issue. We have veterans, and we also have a homeless veterans initiative. We were able to provide, in partnership with Chick-fil-A, District Heights, free Chick-fil-A sandwiches for the homeless for the entire summer at the homeless shelter here in Washington, D.C. So, you know, the core of you know, a lot of times you hear people say, I don't really have the time.
Yeah.
I want to support.
Come on, hey Doc.
Yeah, it really just comes to priority. You know what I mean? We all listen. We all got time. We got time. We got time now, right? Right?
I had to check myself.
Yeah.
I have to check myself every time somebody asks me to do something.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a free situation. Yeah. I have to check myself and be like, man, stop lying to yourself.
Right.
You got the time.
Yeah. And that's what we want to teach our kids, right? We don't want to teach them that you got to make time to give back or to help somebody. Because if you think about those of us who came from humble beginnings, like myself and a lot more, including, I'm pretty sure, you know, your story is the same. Hey, somebody made the time to help us, right? Yep. So it's you know, it's our duty. Like, it's a part of who we are. Like, we should make this a part of our space. And it don't have to be every day. Remember, I tell people, man, it's not a do this because somebody else do that. No, it's do what you can. If it is giving, if it's sharing your resources, whether it be your financial resources, that's still a term of giving. If it's sharing your time, that's a term of, if it's just dropping off items, right? Oftentimes, you know, we have items that we hold on to. I don't know. I mean, you know, we got some people that got pack racks of stuff in their closet that they don't even need. You're like, I don't want to get that away, man. They got sentimental value. Like, you ain't even worn that in like 20 years. How much sentimental value it got? You know what I mean? You know, so, you know, we all can just literally do just a little bit. I think that's
and we got a few moments left, Doc, but I want to stress to people. I want to stress to people. It's good to give money, but it's better to give your time.
Right. Yeah.
If you can give an hour.
Right.
And we got an hour. All of us got an hour.
Yeah.
If you give an hour on the weekend,
right,
much better. I don't want us to get into a space where it's like you just throw money at it.
Right.
Let's throw our hearts into a situation, right? Let's throw our spirit out there, because that time is invaluable. You know, you can get $5 back, $10 back. And I know a couple of people that say, oh, no, just give a few dollars.
Right.
No, you can give that, but you can't get that time back. So that's the thing. Like that's the real sacrifice. That's the real commitment. Like, give something that you can't get back.
Right. And if I can add also too, we don't need to glorify it, right? We don't like you don't have William Dunn's picture on a poster. Like I'm not going to use the word turned down, but we have chose not to have certain partnerships because when we're giving, we don't want nobody to feel bad for when they receive it. See, some people are doing stuff so that they can be able to make themselves look better. Like having an authenticity, which when you're giving, like you're giving because you want to be of a service of support for someone, not to make them feel that they're lesser than. And I think that has somewhat been a challenge for people in the nonprofit sector. But I don't want to spend too much energy on it. But I do want, you know, to make that statement, you know, being in this space for many years, that your giving should come from your heart, right? Like, remember this right here. And I still say this. I'm going to say it. This is a core for my grandmother that I will live by. That when you give more than you receive, you will receive more later. That's the spiritual side. When you think about that part, when you go into it, you don't even worry about whether they know your name. Here you go, ma'am. Here you go, sir. Have a good day. Right? That's kind of a space when we talk about the atmosphere's blessings, regardless of what you know, religion or culture that you're from, that you know that there's something that's coming that's going to resonate in your own space, that's going to help be a change agent to your growth.
Yep.
A blessing to someone else.
You ain't lying, brother. You ain't lying at all, Doc. We got about 1 minute left, but I want to make sure we get some comments because folks are checking in. Willie, you said amen, brother, as Dr. William Dunn has been talking to us today, folks. Brother, you said amen, brother. Ashe. Amen. I hear that. Janae, you said actually about to give some clothes to some this weekend. Good for you, Janae. That's what I'm talking about. That's the least you can do. Least we can do. Hotep Pan Africa. You checked in and said, we do not have a professional organization, but we give food, clothing, blankets, and sleeping bags to the homeless in our area each year. We set up tables and the people come. Exactly.
Yep.
You got to see the people you got to help us where they are. Charlene, thank you so much, Hotep. Charlene, you checked in and said, volunteering to help is such a blessing. And those that are on the receiving line often donate $5 and above. That's good. But like I said, folks, money is good. Right. Time is better. If you can get that time, I'm telling you, like Dr. Dunn is saying, the rewards is something else. Janelle, do you feel like, Janae said, I do feel like the Black community understands the importance of helping each other out, if not from church community environments. And we do it annually. And yes, when I can't give my time, I give that moolah. I hear that.
Right.
I hear that.
Right.
Vela checked in and said, kudos to you, Dr. Dunn, for what you are doing to help those less fortunate. I say, I so share your passion for giving back. I volunteer with my church's annual Christmas giveaway and a Thanksgiving Day event.
Right.
Absolutely. And then conscious thought, my guy, you said 100. There are organizations like Feed in America that work and legislate to feed and advocate for the hungry and dispossessed every day. It is inhumane for anyone to ever be hungry anywhere.
Absolutely.
Amen.
Absolutely.
Amen. Hey, Doc,
yes.
what's the website, or how can people be involved with the Dunn Foundation annual turkey giveaway this year?
So it's The Dunn, THEDUNN Foundation, one word, thedunnfoundation.com. You can just go to our website. You can find out information. You can, find out who we are, what we do. We have our annual turkey giveaway, and you can see the work we're doing. You can email the Dunn Foundation at gmail.com as well. You can just email us. We're getting geared up right now. We still need, sponsors that want to help a family get a turkey. And really, if you just have ideas, if you want, to find out how you can support, we provide that as well too. So I just want to leave with these words. You don't have to have a lot to help a lot. And if we all do a little, we can help a lot.
I love it. Dr. William Dunn, who serves as the founder of the Dunn Foundation. Yes, he is an author. He's a motivational speaker. He's a scholar. And brother, thank you so much. We'll certainly bring you back on.
Thank you. Thank you for what you're doing as well, too. We oftentimes, lose sight with thanking people, as well, too. So thank you for what you're doing and the platform that you're putting out here, for us as well.
Thank you, Doc. I appreciate you. Good to talk to you, and we'll see you again. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
All right, folks. Let's take a quick pause. When we come forward, let's switch gears. Let's talk about the power of beauty. I'm going to check in with makeup artist and entrepreneur Eva James to talk to us about how Black women and Black men are creating a billion-dollar business empire with beauty and so much more, and how to get that slice of that pie. So stay with us. That discussion is up next here on The Culture, right? That's coming right back here on the Black Star Network. We'll be back.
Pull up a chair, take your seat. The Black Tape with me, Dr. Greg Carr, here on the Black Star Network. Every week, we'll take a deeper dive into the world we're living in. Join the conversation only on the Black Star Network.
Hatred on the streets, a horrific scene, a white nationalist rally that descended into deadly violence.
White people are losing their damn minds.
As an angry pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol, we've seen shooting.
We're about to see the rise of what I call white minority resistance. We have seen white folks in this country who simply cannot tolerate black folks voting.
I think what we're seeing is the inevitable result of violent denial.
This is part of American history. Every time that people of color have made progress, whether real or symbolic, there has been what Carol Anderson at Emory University calls white rage as a backlash.
This is the rise of the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys. America, there's going to be more of this.
Here's all the Proud Boys, guys. This country is getting increasingly racist in its behaviors and its attitudes because of the fear of white people.
The fear that they're taking our jobs, they're taking our resources, they're taking our women. This is white fear.
When we invest in ourselves, our glow, our vision, our vibe, we all shine. Together, we are black beyond measure.
Welcome to Atlanta, one of the most expensive housing markets in America. But rather than help out, Brian Kemp cashed in. He made hundreds of thousands of dollars in real estate. His net worth skyrocketed. And while Atlantans struggled to stay in their homes, Kemp gave $10,000 tax handouts to the richest Georgians and a nearly $700 million no-bid contract to his campaign donor, Brian Kickback Kemp, making Georgia work for him, not you.
All right, folks, welcome back to The Culture here on the Black Star Network. For our final conversation today, I wanted to talk about the power of beauty. Do you know that Black women know something about beauty? Of course, absolutely, because Black women are most beautiful, super gorgeous, but not just in mind, and not just in the face, but also mind, body, and spirit. But more than that, Black women are saying that there is a market, there is a place for Black women in the beauty market. And guess what? It is showing each and every day as we're seeing that more and more money is being spent by Black women and some Black men into the beauty products and the beauty industry. And today we wanted to have a conversation about this. Take a look, folks. The industry that Black women built. It is a trillion. Well, this is a really $1 billion industry. And one of the big things is that one of the biggest contributors is Black women going to the stores, buying the beauty products. Now, there has been a number of conversations and debates, rather, about whether it's important. Is it necessary for us to spend so much of our needed resources on things that may diminish over a short period of time? I know that when you're talking about Black buying power, right, quote unquote, when people say, oh, Black folks have $1 trillion buying power, that money can be used for A, B, and C, D, whereas that currently we use that money for beauty products and supplies. We use that money on cars. We use that money on things that have a diminishing value each and every day. So there can be some pros in the fact that we are helping to create an industry that is bringing to birth entrepreneurs and stylists and makeup artists and beauty professionals. But then the con can possibly be that so much money is being spent on the outside that not enough is being spent on the inside of us. So we wanted to have this big conversation with a sister who is doing some fantastic work in the beauty industry. She has been the makeup artist to the stars, to a number of high-profile men and women, and she is continuing to do her work as she is an entrepreneur as herself. So we want to welcome to the airwaves of the Black Star Network here on The Culture, Miss Eva Jane. Eva, how are you this afternoon?
Wow, I am amazing. That was just the most wonderful intro. And I have really been enjoying the whole show. I've been picking and choosing. I'm just like, man, to talk about HBCUs, I'm all for that. I have a son who's a freshman. So at Tuskegee, so TU,
That's what's up. That's what's up. And hopefully he's staying safe. How old is your son?
Ooh, you caught me. 18 now.
18.
They're
So
getting
he
older.
he just got there. He pretty much just got there.
He's a freshman. Yes, yes.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, and I'm sure as an HBCU mom, you understand the ups and downs, the craziness, the madness. So I just only want to say I hope and pray that your son does really, really well at Tuskegee, and that I'm sure he's going to make you proud and he's going to make all of us proud. So I'm glad that you're making that investment. So let's talk about the work that you do, Eva. You are an entrepreneur. You are a makeup artist. You are a makeup artist to the stars. Talk a little bit about who have some of your clients have been in the past.
Who are some? Okay, let's see. I can start with, I have had some wonderful opportunities. I've been able to do makeup for President Carter. I've done The Rock, the wonderful late Cicely Tyson. I've worked with Usher before, Jamie Foxx, Jennifer Holliday. I was in TV news for many years, so at a show here in Atlanta. So we'd have lots of celebs kind of come through, and then I was personal to some for some years as well. But it's been, oh my goodness, it's been since '93, so almost 30 years that I've been a professional makeup artist. And it's I was speaking earlier, like Donnie and Marie. I was able to work with Donnie Osmond for something years ago, a couple times. The original Batman, Adam West. So it's been a kind of a myriad of people in lots of different arenas, just lots of different places: theater, film, television, just special events. So I always love when I can just be in different places. And that's what makeup has given me. Just, it's never a dull moment.
I can only imagine. I can only imagine, Eva. Let's talk a little bit about the business side of makeup, because beauty this is a multi-billion-dollar industry. This is not like, oh, just a couple of dollars here, a couple of dollars there. This is a industry that really Black women have built. And this is something that we wanted to kind of highlight in our conversation with you. Then now I want to show this. This is coming from Essence, but according to data from 2020, there was an overwhelming number of 82% of women say it's important say it's important to be well groomed, and 52% of us adhere to a set of skincare regimen, right? Mm-hmm. The African American spend, check this out, Eva, and I'm sure you probably heard this, but for those who haven't, we spend $1.2 trillion each year, and that number is projected to rise to $1.5 trillion. They said by 2021, it might be even more. But in 2018, the Black hair care industry raked in an estimated $2.5 billion, as Black consumers have progressively made the switch from general products to those that specifically cater to us. And in 2017, African Americans carried 86% of the ethnic beauty market, accounting for $54 million of the $63 million spent, according to Nielsen. And in 2017, we also spent $127 million on grooming aids and $465 million on skincare.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But grooming, adornment, all of that, it goes back centuries. It's mentioned in the Bible. Yapa was the word used, Y-A-P-A, and it meant to adorn. So I take pleasure in making myself look good, and using the package that I have, being comfortable in the skin that I'm in, and presenting that to the world in a way that I feel comfortable. And I mean, that's what my beauty brand is about, is making beauty easier so that women, whatever their lifestyle, if they're always on the go and they want to look good, they have to present themselves to the world. If you want to do a little, if you want to do a lot, it's kind of your prerogative, how you want to present yourself. So being able to do your skincare regime, and that's self-care as well. It makes you feel good to kind of nurture yourself now and again. So I'm all for it. I know we have a lot of buying power. I know that we are the most beautiful. We love to make ourselves, it's the preening and the looking good and the presentation. We're the best at that, I feel. So
Right.
yeah.
So you decided to do something different. Like, and I'm gonna say this: women sometimes, women and men, we sometimes get into an industry and just kind of, work for the industry. But in your case, I think you are trying to, you position yourself where the industry is working for you. The reason I'm saying is because not only are you a makeup artist, you are also an author, but you're the inventor of the makeup bullet, which is a high definition cosmetic finger sponge that you use for your makeup. It's what is considered to be one of the most innovative designs of this decade in a makeup sponge applicator and blender.
Yep. There
So
it
wait
is.
a minute, you decided to invent a product.
Yeah.
So that way the industry can pay you and you're not working as hard. Talk to us about what was the inspiration behind that and how this is coming along for you.
Sure. So the makeup bullet came to me while I was actually working on set. The epiphany just kind of came to me because I've worked in television news for so many years, and it's unforgiving. It's live. There's no grace period. You got to get that person to set and they got to go on. So I had a lady in my chair and I'd almost finished her. And there was one thing that I wanted to kind of correct or smooth out. And my go-to tool is my blending sponge. So I looked in my melee of makeup that I had spread out and I couldn't figure out where I'd set my sponge down. I didn't know if it fell off on the floor or whatever. And I'm starting to kind of get nervous because I know seconds feel like hours, So she's looking at me like, I got to go. And she's getting nervous and I'm getting nervous. And all of a sudden the thought popped in my head, if my sponge was on my finger, that'd be one less thing I'm looking for. And I could go faster and I wouldn't, be in this situation. And I kind of put a pin in the idea and was like, wow, is that a thing? Did some research. It wasn't a thing. But then the doubts started to creep in. And I think that's where we hang ourselves up. We have something that's just kind of like a God inspiration. And then we start to doubt ourselves. I was just like, I don't know if I could create a product. That seems hard. It's going to be expensive. Can I do this by myself? Will people even like it? I don't know. And those doubts kind of weighed on me for almost 10 years before I actually did it and stepped out. But when I finally did make a decision I'm going to do this. I'm going to make this happen. I don't know what it's going to be like. I don't really have a whole bunch of money to put in it, but I'm just going to take a step and start. And when I did that, I decided February of 2012 to go ahead and do it, and started making phone calls, trying to find a manufacturer and all that. I wanted it to be domestically produced here in the US because I knew that I would have more power over the quality, the standards, how it was made. There was certain material that I wanted to use. And once I did that, by that December, I had my first prototypes in my hand. And I was at a beauty show the following May of 2013 and sold out by the beginning of day 2 of all of the sponges that I had. So I knew right then that I had something, because the show I was at was an industry show. It was makeup artists, professional artists just like me. And to this day, one of those artists, I actually just spoke with her. She's a New York artist working in daytime TV. And I spoke with her last week, and she said, "Oh, I'm still using your sponges. Like, I still use them on set." So I'm like, it warms my heart when something that was just an idea can help somebody just like me. But
Yep.
I have other stories of people that have been affected and have been blessed by it. And I didn't even think, for instance, I spoke at a conference one time. It was a meeting, and afterwards a lady approached me and she said, "Oh, that makeup bullet." She said, "That sounds like something that I would want to try, that I'd want to use." And she proceeded to tell me she had been ill and the illness had taken such a toll on her body that she couldn't move her hand anymore. So I gave her a box of makeup bullets. And, you know, with entrepreneurship, it's a lot of ups and downs. It really is. And I was experiencing one of those downtimes. I was trying to like think through some issues, some problems I was having. And I was walking through the grocery store and I get a phone call, and it's the woman that I had gifted a box of sponges a few weeks before. And she told me, she said, I just wanted to let you know that I used your product for the first time. She said, I was able to do my makeup for the first time in 5 years. And my husband and I, we went out and I had makeup on and we celebrated our wedding anniversary. And I felt so amazing going out, and I was able to do my face. So those, and my heart was like, oh, okay, drop mic. I'm done. If I don't sell another sponge, I created something that this woman could feel beautiful when she went out into the world. Yep. And that to me is what beauty is about. It's not necessarily about just focusing on the outside. It's about being able to face the world with confidence and be able to say, okay, I'm just going to work with what I've got. I'm going to dress it up and make it look as good as I want. I'm going to stick on my red lips or paint my brows or put on my lashes. And then I'm going to go out into the world and I'm going to feel beautiful, you know? So those are the things that I like. And then one other gentleman, a friend of mine, gave some to his elderly mother who was having dexterity issues. She couldn't hold her makeup brushes anymore. And she put on the makeup bullet and she was able to do her face. So a whole community of people that I really, in the beginning of it, it's like God will lead you down a road and it's like you think you're going down for one reason. And it's just like it widens, it includes so many other people. And it becomes bigger. So no, I don't feel that the 30 years I've been in the beauty industry has been about vanity. It's been about empowering people. Yeah.
I love that. I love it, Eva. I love it. Absolutely love it. This is one of your tutorials that are featured. Look at Eva. You look surprised when we pulled this up. You're like, what?
I know. I don't even remember that.
Look at this. This is the tutorial for the makeup bullet. Look at you. What the hell? You can always tell a time period about a woman's hair, right? Oh, that's why I had them curls. Oh, yes, that was cute. But this is the first. All right, while we're showing this, and Keenan and Ariel, my team is fantastic, so I appreciate you for pulling them up. First, let's let people know right now, what's your Instagram? How can people like tune into this tutorial, so some of the other videos and reels you got posted?
So that looks like that's on actually the Makeup Bullets page. So yeah, that's the Makeup Bullet.
Gotcha.
I also have a page that's Eva Jane Beauty, and it just kind of shows some of the different products. And then I am Eva Jane is my personal.
All right.
So yeah, any and all of those are ways that you can reach out and that you can connect.
All right. So first and foremost, you're going to have a new follower with me. So you got to start doing videos for men as well as to your core audience of women. So I get that. But let's look. There are a couple of things about where we are right now when it comes to beauty. Like we can look at the numbers of it, right, Eva? And the numbers speak for themselves. This is a multi-billion-dollar industry. But in terms of, and I'm sure you're involved in conversations about standards of beauty, especially as it relates to Black women in this day and time. Yeah. And so I wanted to pick your brain about, when you look at the direction that how Black women express themselves, right? With makeup, without makeup, like we see what Alicia Keys did years ago, where she kind of created this no makeup revolution. What's your stance on that? Because there are some women that are pushing back. Do you, for those women who say, well, sis, wearing makeup is the white man's standard of beauty, it's the colonizer standard of beauty. Don't hurt me, sis. Don't hurt me, Eva. I'm just posing a question.
Yeah. When it comes to different awareness levels I think that we go through as Black people. You know, I think that we need to give one another grace because, and give one another freedom to express in the way that we feel best exemplifies who we want to be. And sometimes we're not going to know the full story of the origin of what happened, but I know that I like when I look like this. Now you could go into, well, but you're doing your makeup in such a way that you're trying to mold yourself to a certain standard. And sometimes I think growth and healing can come over a period of time. So perhaps that is the case, but I don't know. I mean, they say that we're always trying to fix the issues of our childhood. You know, you come from humble beginnings and then you kind of maybe go way far to the right with overdoing, with trying to prove something. I think that in my makeup life, when I was younger, I kind of did that. It's just like I would put on the most just because I could. And then you just kind of level out a little bit. And then I'm just like, okay, right now I have on a full face of makeup. I don't have on a bunch of shadow or anything like that, but this is the face that I wanted to wear today. I didn't want to come on. I didn't need to come on here and prove like, oh, I know how to do all the shadows. I can do 4 colors. I can, you know, but if that's what you want to do, sis, do you, boo? So, I mean, I think that we need to give one another freedom and liberty. And even when you talk about men wearing makeup, if that's the way you choose to express yourself, I think that we need to give one another grace and we need to give one another love. We don't need to come at one another hard. There are a lot of beauty trends that I'm just like, no, that's not for me. However, you know, I saw something today where I was like, ooh, is this where we are? I was in a beauty supply today and there were tattoo baby hair. So you could just lay it on the side and then you got all the swirls and stuff. And I'm like, wow, this obsession with edges. I'm just like, I lay them down and hope that they're going to stay. But, you know, if that's what you want to do.
Wait a minute. Hold on, sis. Hold on, Eva. Hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on.
I took a picture. I was like, you want to see it?
Tattooed baby hair?
Oh my God.
No. I know. Like it for men for the barbershop. I've seen this. I've seen a couple of different versions. Let me see.
I was like,
you essentially take this hair and glue it to your head.
No, it's just like it's like a tattoo, you know, like back in the day when you have little play tattoos, you could just tattoo it on and you got all of those swirls and stuff. I'm like, maybe my hair won't do that. So maybe it would look good on a sister on a Zoom. I don't know. But I'm just like, I've seen dudes like tattoo their hairline. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They, like permanent tattoo their hairline.
Yeah.
Or they just do the Beijing joint.
Yeah, I always wonder, like, but when you start to like continue to lose, that's a whole lot of maintenance. Ooh, but you know what? At some
point, to each his own, right? To each his own. Like people want to express themselves, right? Yeah. You know, my team is hilarious. See, this is why I tell them. This is why I got the best team ever. Look at it. They like, oh, tattoo baby hair. We'll pull up the cover.
Like that's the 3-dimensional version. Yeah, that's the 3D version. But there you go. There it is. There it is. You can, and like I said, that might look great in like, you know, on screen.
But see, what do you? So it sounds like you're in a more of a liberal space when it comes to certain trends where you're like, look. That's you. If that's how you want to express yourself, that's fine.
Yeah,
but
I think the flavor we have. I really do. I love the boldness of our culture. I love the flavor. I'm like, everything is not for everybody, and that's
right.
And that is totally okay.
But should we? I guess my question is, Eva, should we have you versus us mindset when it comes to how we represent ourselves, right? Because I hear people, and I'm saying this was for both sides, both men and women, that if a man wears his pants below his waist, you know, you got the young boys that wore his pants like, and we often say, well, that's not making us look good. Should we even take that approach when we're talking about individual expression, individual appearance? Same thing for the sisters. If a sister wears a color, her hair, and say, oh, sister, you ain't repping good. You're not representing us as women well. Like, I see that.
I try, because I know me, and I know that I can go a little judgy. So I try to pull myself back from that place. Some things are hard for me to see. Like, I still can't get with the satin bonnets in public. Those are or at work, like while you're actually on your job. However, and like, to me, that's more of, like, for instance, that's professionalism, like learning what's appropriate where.
Right.
And what's appropriate wear, depending on where the wear is, can be different.
But I mean, we don't have.
But you're going to attract what you give off.
Yeah. And this is, we may not see the same thing, but I think we are saying the same thing. But my point is, there should be some standard, like the bonnet conversation is, whew.
You know what, though? But I'm not like a Gen Z or a millennial or anything like that. So I could start sounding like the old lady in the room to some.
Oh, no, I get it. But see, again, as a man, I can't, I have to be cognizant that I'm a man, and I can't speak on certain women's, trends and affairs. So I can't speak on it. It's just, personally, I don't understand why some sisters wear the bonnet out in public. And I know that celebrity women, Black women, they wear the bonnet, or they, promote the bonnet, wearing the bonnet in public. But there's certain trends that I'm like,
on their way to a shoot and they're trying to protect their hairstyle. That's what I choose to believe.
Well, I agree. I know, no, the purpose of the bonnet, I understand. I'm talking about the appearance of the bonnet in public.
I know. I'm just trying to make it better. But like I said, I know how I can be. So I might need to have a conversation or something, just like, I like to find common ground with people before I start to go into, so why, and then they can give me understanding, because maybe it's something I don't understand, because I really try to be sensitive to that. It's almost like the conversation you were having with Dr. Dunn about when you help somebody or you go in and you do it from your perspective and you don't really figure out what do you need, because I can look from my perspective and say, this is what I think you need. And then you're like, but no, that's not what I need. That's not going to help me right now. So I really try to find common ground and relationship build with people before I go in on them on stuff that's really trivial, really. I mean, but yeah, I get what you're saying as far as really wanting us to represent us well. And there is a place for that conversation.
There's a time and place for it. Eva, we got a couple of moments left, but I want to get your take. Like, what do you make of this? I mean, you have it on your page. You kind of like these beauty tips, tutorials, videos, and everything. What do you make of the explosion of beauty and hair on social media platforms that I see a lot of young women, particularly young Black women, who are now, serving as ambassadors of various products and everything. And I was reading and preparing for today's conversation, I was reading that they're saying that the younger generation of women and those consumers of the hair and beauty industry, they align themselves with Black-owned, more so now than we've had before. They align themselves with Black-owned businesses, and they align themselves with companies that fit their values and their standard of beauty. It's not just like L'Oreal or some of these other ones back in the day where this is what we do and y'all buying it. That there's a concerted effort by younger women particularly to say, you know what is, let me support my sister, but where does she stand on various things? So how do you talk to us about how you're navigating in that space, in this landscape, with your beauty supplies and your service?
Yeah. Well, what I do love about this age with social media and with the availability of it, the barrier to entry has kind of gotten a little lower. And I think more people and more young Black women can participate by being ambassadors, by showing love to brands, by collabing with brands. So I do love that. I love when I can go to a beauty show and I can take an aspiring makeup artist with me and they can work with me and I can kind of encourage them as they're like, okay, I'm helping you with this, but this is what I want to do. I want to start my own line. And I really do love the boldness and being able to share that. For instance, I'm participating in Black Entrepreneurs Day and being able to share my story in that platform. Damon John curates this whole event at the Apollo, and being able to have all of these like-minded individuals coming together, entrepreneurs sharing those ups and downs and being able to encourage that next generation of entrepreneurs. Look, sis, I want you to do even better than me. I want to encourage you. I want you to learn from my failures. And so I try to be transparent about the ups and downs of patenting a product, of trademarking a product, of having people copy my product, and all of that, the good, the bad, the ugly. I want to be able to share those stories and to be able to encourage, because the thing is, if another young sister knows going in the different barriers, the different roadblocks, I can encourage her. But they are so amazing and tech savvy, and they look amazing on camera, and they're bold. They're willing to try new things. You know, I'm a mom and everything, and sometimes I'm just like, oh, I don't know about that, you know. But they just have no fear. They're just so bold, and I really, really admire that about them, using their likeness and their beauty and their youth and their talent and their voice to be able to express themselves and express beauty in a way and try trends that I'm just like, oh, no, I can, you know, try things. So, you know, I'm, like I said, I'm on the more liberal spectrum of being inclusive with people trying different things, because that's how you learn. You learn through failure, you learn through successes, you learn through adversity. And I'm for all of it. I love the journey of being an entrepreneur.
It's a beautiful, beautiful journey. Eva, we thank you so much for your insight. Thank you for the makeup bullet. It's so cool that I get to talk to somebody who is an innovator and the designer and an inventor of something. You know, it's like Madam C.J. Walker, or, you know, you talk about being a part among the greats. There it is. Don't put that in. Hey, Keenan, Ariel, let's put something up on there for the makeup bullet as well. There we go. Boom. Look at Eva there. Look at Eva.
New, different hair there too, huh?
This is your website.
Yes, that's Eva Jane Beauty.
There it is, folks. And you can see all the products that she offers. I'm sure.
Look, the book will be back in stock too. If somebody does have an interest in patenting a product, that's what Innovative Beauty is about. It's about my journey to patent a product and sell it worldwide. And this will be back on the site soon and on Amazon.
There it is. There it is. Look at you. You multifaceted with yours, sis.
I appreciate you. You're like a master encourager.
Just wake up in the morning, turn Farajii Muhammad on, like, good morning. You're going to have a fantastic day. Yes, I will. Eva Jane, I truly appreciate you, sis. Thank you so much. Again, I mean, seriously, I really am so happy for you, that of all of your success, and most importantly, you just being a woman that you are, having the voice that you are, creating the space for other young women. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And you're an entrepreneur. You know, you are an artist, and you're just doing a lot of great things. So I thank you so much. Again, let's put out all of your social so folks can connect with you, Eva.
So Eva Jane Beauty on IG or The Makeup Bullet. And my personal is I Am Eva Jane on Instagram.
All right, let me just share with you. People are excited about you, Eva. So Bella, she checked in and said, congratulations, Eva, on your successful business venture. You have such a beautiful, natural appearance, which is so refreshing. Oh, my goodness. So she appreciates you. Taylor said, growing up in the church, it was a place with a full spectrum of beauty standards. You name it, all is well. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Rosa checked in and said, the thing is, designs around the hairline is really creative, but makeup can and does damage the skin if used too regularly. So, but I'm sure that in your plethora of information, your expertise, you teach women how to find products that fit their skin, that is healthy for their skin, that matches their skin. There's a lot that's there, but you are a guide. You're not just putting something on people's faces. You helping them to understand how they can enhance their beauty. So that's a beautiful thing. My man, Real Brooklyn, checked in and said, tattoo baby hair, Lord have mercy. When you think you've seen it all. Yes. And Dirty Red checked in and said, look, I remember women coming outside with rollers in their hair, going to the ice cream truck for Newports and a bag of Mr. G's. Good booger. He even bring them out. He bringing them out. What'd you say?
I said that's way back in the day, the rollers. Maybe I missed the roller days. I don't know.
Now it's the bonnets and Uggs. That's what it is, bonnet and Uggs right now. Eva, again, thank you so much, sis. We truly appreciate you. And, please keep us posted about any other, new ventures that you're doing and all of your success. We truly want to continue to support you here on The Culture.
I so appreciate you. You all can watch the Black Entrepreneurs Day Thursday evening next week. So you can go to the website and check it out.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That will be awesome.
Black entrepreneurs.
There it is. Eva James, makeup artist, author, and entrepreneur. Eva, thank you for being so good for the culture. And there it is, folks. Boom. Making beauty easier with Eva James. Eva James, excuse me. Look at that. Yes.
I love it. I appreciate you. You are just amazing.
Look at that.
I'm blessed.
There you go. All right, Eva. We thank you. Have a great day. We'll talk soon.
Blessings to you all.
Thank you. Same here, sis. Same here. All right, folks, that is going to do it for me. I thank each and every one of you. What a good day. We had I felt like a day of empowerment and inspiring people. That's what I feel inspired today. It's Thursday. It's all inspiring Thursday. There it is. Big shout out to all of those our special guests that came on today. Thank you. Big shout out to my team. My team is always on it. King Keenan, Ariel, Joel. Thank you. My control room. And certainly, I thank each and every one of you for being a part of the culture conference, the culture crew, my online culture crew, man. I thank you so much for checking in and showing support to our guests. Folks, make sure you continue to support us here on Black Star Network. Go to our website today at blackstarnetwork.com. Support the Black-owned media. You can give financially, you can share the content, and so much more. And certainly you can download the app and make yourself known. Join us on our movement as we continue to push this platform forward. Go to blackstarnetwork.com to be a part of the movement, because it is certainly important. Also, make sure you follow me on all social media platforms at Farajii, the real Farajii on IG and Farajii on Twitter. I'd love to connect with you. Make sure you make that move, and let's continue to build the great community that we have. Stay tuned. Up next is Roland Martin Unfiltered, RMU. Make sure y'all tune in. It's Thursday night, so you know how they get down. Oh, man, I miss Thursday nights on RMU. I really do, y'all. I really do. But I enjoyed this part, too. I enjoyed this, too. So big shout out to RMU. Make sure y'all tune in this Thursday night, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, as always, never be afraid to challenge what's wrong. Stand for what's right while being yourself in the process. God willing, we'll talk tomorrow. Tomorrow, we plan to talk to an author who's telling the story about Black paramedics who have undergone discrimination, racism, just to save people's lives. It's just going to be an incredibly fascinating conversation. We're going to talk to the author of this new book, and I want you to join me. So definitely check in tomorrow for tomorrow's edition of The Culture here on the Black Star Network. As always, never be afraid to challenge what's wrong. Stand for what's right while being yourself in the process. God willing, we'll talk tomorrow for another exciting edition of The Culture right here, exclusively here, only here on the Black Star Network. Have a great evening, folks. Peace.